Hello brick sculptors and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris and today I want to show you some techniques for making roofs out of cheese slopes. This is my favorite technique for making roofs. There's lots of different ways you can make Lego roofs, but I think these look the most realistic and I really like the texture that they give. As you can see, this one here is all 1x1 cheese slopes. It takes a lot of them. This is also a fairly small roof. I've done some really big ones of these on some of my mocks. I'm going to show you a few different techniques for building these. There's a couple different styles. So we're going to go ahead and start with this style, which is where you have an exposed edge. And I will say each style of cheese slope roof that I do, there is one thing I don't like about each of them, and I'm going to go over that as well. Let's go ahead and get started in showing you how to make a roof like this. So for this first style roof, you're going to need a lot of plate. And these are all black 2x4 plates. And on top of each one, I have a 1x4 plate. So this is kind of the technique we're going to use. You can make this as long as you want. So a roof like this, you'll have to make these the distance of the length of the roof. But I'm just going to do a small sampling here to show you how these are built. But this is the general basis for how you build this roof. And we just stack them almost like a stair set. Just like this. Now if on each of these pieces we were to put some cheese slopes, they would look like this. And then when we stack them, they come out like this. Now when we get to the top, we are going to need a peak. So you'll take another plate and just make cheese slopes going both directions and put those at the top. Again, if you're making a longer roof, you'll have to do this for the entire length of it, so you won't want to use small sections like this. And we would attach our other side. Obviously this side doesn't have cheese slopes on it, but it would look the same as this if we did. Now this is a simple technique. It does take a lot of parts, but I think it looks pretty realistic. A couple of reasons I don't love this technique. Number one, shingles are supposed to be staggered. So these are all in a straight line, but I think it looks pretty good because the size of them looks really nice. They're really small and you can fit a ton of them in there. The main reason I don't love this technique is the ends. It's not very refined. It's got that stair-step pattern on it. You do need to put some sort of filler in here, which is cool because you can make it match the color of the house or the building that you're putting it on. But these ends are really chunky, and they don't look great with that jagged underside. I've played around with techniques for how to cover this up. I haven't found one that I love yet. If you have a suggestion, please leave it below in the comments. But for now, I just kind of leave that exposed like that. I don't think it looks too terrible. Now I should note, there's a few different ways you can make these. For one, this is just symmetrical, the same on both sides. Sometimes it makes more sense to have a smaller section like this. So you can just build it out like you need to, just making sure you have the right colors in the right places. And the underside of this is built all the same. Same thing on the ends, and it's the same 1x1 black cheese slopes. You can put little vents and things and chimneys in if you add a little detail to it. But same basic design, just with a piece jutting out. Another technique you can do is to use 1x2 cheese slopes, and that would look like this. Now this I think looks really cool. Number one, these build a lot faster because you don't have to stick half as many pieces down. But also you can stagger them and they can kind of overlap like shingles would. Now they do overlap like shingles do, but they also are a lot bigger than shingles would be. But I do really like this look. It builds a lot faster. These pieces do cost a little bit more than buying these, I believe. Cheese slopes like this are typically anywhere from a penny to 3 pennies a piece. These are probably more like 4, 5, 6 cents a piece. But it does have a good look. I should also mention if you have a roof that comes out to an odd number, this is a cool way to make a nice ridge down the middle. And all this is a row of these curved top pieces just straight down the middle there. And they look really nice. I recess them down one plate below where the cheese slope would be flush. And it looks like a nice center ridge to a roof. So that's another way we can do this. You can also add different colors and mixtures of colors. This is a cheese slope roof that I have in my town, and I've got some color added in. Maybe got some older shingles, or maybe it's just a pattern on the shingles to make it look a little different. I've got some dark tan and dark gray mixed in here. You can do more or less of this. I've done these with more. I've done it with some olive green in here as well to make it kind of look aged. I've got dormers on the front of this one. On the building this sits on, it's got 5 windows that sit underneath these, so it kind of has a cool little overhang. And you just use the same technique, but build outward where you need it to. Got some little chimneys and vents and things on there. So it looks kind of cool. Let's go ahead and talk about the second style of roof. Now you can also build cheese slope roofs where they don't have any flat sides, but they're angled on all sides. And this is also a good look. It's kind of cool to vary these and have some of each in a Lego town so they don't all look the same. Here's a more square one here, kind of almost like a pyramid. And I'll show you the technique I use when I build these. So same thing, we're going to start with a bunch of Lego plates. And here we have to build corners. So I've got some Lego plate where I have a 2x4 and a 1x2 on top. I got 3 of those here. And I've got some where I have a 2x4 and then 5 long on top hanging over. And I got 3 of those here as well. And the technique here is we're just going to stick these together to make an angled piece. And again, you would want to make these the length of whatever you're doing here. But this is just a small sample. So you can see that I have a corner here now, and I can build my cheese slopes up. If I go ahead and connect all of these, we can then begin to stack them. So just like that, and like that. Now obviously this would need to come out to here and here, but you'd also probably need other corners to bring it all the way around, just like you see here. Now when I put slopes on these, they look like this. And same basic thing. You can then stack them. So real simple to do. Build it in whatever shape or size you need. I've done some really big ones of these. I did a roof like this for a mock I made that I'll show you eventually that I believe took a couple thousand cheese slopes. It's a very big mock, but that's for another day. I want to show you one big issue I have with this roof. And if you watched my video on 5 pieces Lego needs to make, you probably already know it. There's a couple different techniques here on this little mock roof I made. The big problem is the corners. Now on one side of this I did the 1x2, actually 2 sides of this I did the 1x2 cheese slopes. On 2 sides I did the 1x1. But the problem is the corners. So here you can see exposed corners. That's the first method. Is just to leave them open, which I don't think looks very good. It looks really unfinished. The next method you could do is just 1x1 tile flat, which looks better than the exposed stud, but it juts out a little far if you look at it at that angle, and it's a little too sharp, and I don't really care for it. You could also just have the cheese slope extra long on one side, but it makes for a real jagged roof line. And I don't love that either. The method that I like the most, which I don't love this. I don't think it's a great technique, but it looks the best, is to use these curved corner pieces, little 1x1 curved tiles. And they don't have that crazy high profile. It's still not perfect. They match the curve of the roof, and that's what I did on this big one here. If you have a better method for this, let me know below. This is why I would love to see a cheese corner where you have a cheese slope that's angled on 2 sides, and it would fill this perfectly and make this roof look so seamless. But unfortunately, Lego doesn't make that part. Well, I hope you guys found this walkthrough helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask below. If you have any comments or ways I could improve on this technique, please let me know below as well. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, because I'm going to do more just like this.